Good morning. You're listening to Drinking Socially, the official Untapped podcast.
Your weekly look into what's happening in the Untapped community and the world of beer.
Ever hear of Batsquatch? Of course you have. We reviewed him last year. How about Colossal Claude? Rogue Ales and Spirits, the pioneer of craft beer based in Oregon, is telling their legendary stories in the Monsters of IPA animated series. Sit back, crack open a beer, and watch as the Monsters of IPA reveal the origin stories behind these mysterious cryptids and the beers brewed in their honor. Follow along at Rogue Ales on Instagram and learn more at monstersofipa.com.
Whoa, quiet down, John. You smell that? Could it be those things that go bump in the night back again? One, a creature born of volcano ash and fire, or perhaps an ancient sea serpent hoarding wisdom? Deep? Or, oh no, wait, hold on. That's not, there's nothing there. Just beers rolling around, and a couple beers just rolling behind the desk for some. Wait a second. These aren't just beers. These are monster beers.
Hey, Harry, are you okay, man?
Whew, all right. Sorry about that. I'm a little late to today's show. Who turned the lights out in here? What's going on? Did we start recording already?
Yeah, this is live, bud. You're doing good. Great shirt.
So good. Sorry about that. I don't know what came over me. Is it Monsters of IPA tonight? Is it happening?
It happened.
Oh my gosh. All right, good. Lucky us. We have got all sorts of guests stopping by tonight. Not just Batsquatch, who everyone should remember from episode 26 of last season of Drinking Socially. But Colossal Claude is here tonight, an Imperial IPA. He's going to join the party and help us unlock the Hopped Up badge. And you won't just have to hear John and I pontificate about these beers. We're bringing in an actual expert, Hagen Moore, VP of Marketing and Creative for Rogue Ales and Spirits. They'll be shining some light on these creatures of the night. So grab your flashlight and an extra sandwich. We're heading to the woods, heading to the coast. We're going to see which of these Monsters of IPA brings the most bite.
You heard Harrison right. Monsters attacked him, but he's back. And the badge that we're featuring on this episode of Drinking Socially to honor the Monsters of IPA is the Hopped Up badge on Untapped. This one is a little bit easier to earn than the last one we featured. To earn this badge, all you have to do is check into a beer with an IBU over 65. And I know Harrison and I often say that IBUs don't really matter, because for the most part they don't. But on Untapped, if a brewery is kind enough to give us an IBU rating and it's over 65 and you check into that beer, congrats. You're closer to earning or leveling up the Hopped Up badge. And I can pretty much guess we're going to have a monstrous beer to help us get one step closer to Hopped Up level next. Harrison, what are we drinking tonight?
That's right. We have the one and only Colossal Claude from Rogue Ales and Spirits. There he is here on YouTube, sweeping across the screen. That guy is not messing around. The teeth on that thing.
Seriously,
oh, man. That's a beast. That's a monster. So, and it's an Imperial IPA or double IPA, 8.2% ABV, 75 IBUs. So that's great. I'm pumped for that alone. It carries a 3.85 rating on Untapped. And from Rogue, they say it's been a few decades since a Colossal Claude sighting has been reported, but we're fairly certain the massive sea monster has been laying low off the coast of his favorite brewery. Word has it that after years of terrifying sailors and feasting on salmon, he acquired a taste for hops. So we brewed this Imperial IPA with a colossal dose of Cascade, Chinook, Citra, and Strata hops in hopes of coaxing Claude out to join us for a pint. Boom. Love it. Love the story. Love the fun that Rogue is having here. And love the hop combo. Ooh, look at that. John's already got it. Opened up, poured out. Looks nice. Smells nice. Did you already grab a first sip, John? What do you know?
Yeah, I had to. This monster's got teeth, man. You want to get them right out of the can and into one of your favorite glasses.
Get them in there.
And there's an analogy in here where this monster has teeth, and this is kind of like a West Coast leaning beer in flavor. West Coast leaning IPA, 75 IBUs. So we can expect a little bitterness or perceived bitterness. And this beer does a great job of giving me exactly that piney, resinous, almost tastes like you maybe like almost accidentally chewed on a hot pellet just for a second.
Right.
And then it's just wiped away with like a little bit of juiciness from, is that early edition hops that are giving me that fruit flavor in the back of the sip? I'm already lost in this beer. I'm going back for more.
Those would probably be the late edition hops that get like the fruit. If you're getting fruit from it and it's more flavor than the bitterness. And one of the things so this is great. This is delicious. You're right. You nailed it, John. It's bitter in the front. It's got a fruity finish. And looking at the hops, when you dive into Rogue's website about Colossal Claude, they talk even more about all the hops that are in here. And it's this really cool combination of like old world and new world hops, or old school and new school, or whatever you want to call it, where there's Cascade and Chinook. Chinook is
sea hops,
crazy high and alpha acid. So probably going to guess, they're doing early editions with those really bitter hops. And like Belma, Eureka, Strata, those are like really fruity Southern Hemisphere hops. Which you see in newer beers. So they're like blending these two worlds of brand new, crazy, fruity hops and then old school, piney, dank ones into one beer. And it does exactly that. You get that nice kind of earthy bitterness, and then it finishes with a nice fruity punch to it. And I love it. I mean, this is awesome. It tastes like, really, I remember double IPAs tasting. Here we go again, talking about the past.
A little better than I remember, but it's a nostalgic beer.
Mm-hmm. It's got wheat in it, oats in it too, so it's got a nice body, Pilsner malt, and then they use their Imperial juice yeast, which I'm sure just accentuates a lot of those late hop additions and brings the juice out even more. But I'm digging it. Chris is going to not last very long. Oh boy, here we go. The monster's winning. Everybody wins.
This would be a beer, I'd imagine, if you just started liking IPAs in the last year or two, this would be a beer that would be kind of a challenge for you. Or like I referenced, like Dirt Wolf is the beer that converted me into like, I can like IPAs finally. This would be, if you're drinking hazy, fruit-forward IPAs and you jump into Claude, it's a monster.
It is.
But what I love is that it's not just that like late 2010 bitter 100 IBU. Like there's some fruity relief in here that's actually delicious.
Yes, there it is. I think that's a perfect way.
Cheeseburger beer. Cheesy, meat,
on
it.
Get it in there.
Right through it.
That's it. Now I'm so hungry. Which, surprise, surprise, all we do in this show is talk about beer and then food and then complain about being hungry. That's not all we do. We do cool stuff, like have awesome guests. Right. But no, we're doing something different today. We're gonna stop talking about food for now, and also stop guessing about this beer and guessing why this really cool promotion is happening. Again, if you guys haven't jumped over to monstersofipa.com, check it out. These videos that Rogue has put together are so cool. And Hagen Moore, their VP of Marketing and Creative, we're going to talk to him right now about it. But he's got such a cool story. He's a really cool dude. So I'm pumped to sit down with him and talk about these monsters in real life, or as real as they might be. And then as real as they are on the shelf or in your hand or in your glass when you're enjoying Rogue's take on them. So let's hear from the man himself and jump into a cool combo with Hagen. All right, exciting stuff. That was delicious. And I'm pumped to just kind of go next level with this beer and talk to people from Rogue themselves, not just any person. Hagen Moore is here, the VP of Marketing and Creative for Rogue Ales and Spirits. Hagen, how's it going, man? How's the day treating you?
It's great. I went down to Newport today and back to Portland. It's been a rainy trip, but nonetheless, it's always good to get down to the coast and back home now. So good day so far. I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Excellent.
I'm already jealous just in the introduction title, Rogue Ales and Spirits. Anybody that's fortunate enough to get their hands on the spirit side of Rogue, please send me a message and let me know what I'm missing out on. But with Hagen on the show, and anytime I'm fortunate enough to talk to somebody that works in a brewery, like where the source of truth comes from, the first question I want to ask you, and I'm hoping that all of our listeners want to hear it too, when you're finishing up a shift at work, traveling across state lines sometimes, you come home, you're punching the clock, you're getting ready to get done. What do you have, like, is there a beer that you usually go to finish up a shift or on a late Friday night?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be perfectly honest, it varies. You know, we brew a lot of different beers, so it just kind of depends on what mood I'm in. But typically, I am in the mood for an IPA. That's my favorite beer. I'm not a unique snowflake in that category, but I do love them. And I grew up here on the West Coast, and so West Coast IPAs are my favorite. And right now, it's got to be this guy, the Colossal Claude.
Ooh, yeah. And impressive stuff. I love it.
And so Claude and Batsquatch are kind of the center of this, what I think is an amazing campaign that Rogue's building. It reminds me of some of my favorite movies. The kind of battle of monsters, which we'll try and elaborate on here. The first question I want to ask, we featured Batsquatch last season. Claude looks like a fierce competitor. Where did the idea kind of come from in your head as you're trying to figure, like, how do you decide we'll do monster battles with IPA? How is that? I don't know if you can answer that question, but like, where did the chocolate chip cookie come from? Was there something that kind of spurred your inspiration for that?
Yeah, I mean, how do you not, right?
That's a better question, right?
No, yeah, I mean, that's really it. We have these two great beers, and the stories behind them they just have to be told. And that's kind of being a coastal brewer, that's built into our DNA. Whether you're at the bar or you're at a bonfire on the beach, you're going to hear somebody tell a big, like, tall tale fishing story or something, you know, about the fish that got away or something. And it's always a little bit unbelievable. And so it's only natural for us to take these beers and these great stories of these monsters that are actually rooted here in the Northwest as well, and tell the stories of the beers and the monsters behind them.
I'm a self-proclaimed nerd, love every bit of this. I was on your website for this. There's a video, I guess like a cartoon or an animation of kind of like the lore you could watch in real life. How is a brewery, I don't think of you as like the Hanna-Barbera studios in the shed. How did you guys put that video together, if you can answer?
Yeah, absolutely. It was all done in-house by our in-house creative team. It's about a 4-person team. It includes myself, a guy named Aaron Ughawk, a guy named Evan Bartholomew, and a guy named Noah Smith. And we all just kind of sit around and kicked around some ideas. Aaron did the heavy lifting on the animation. Noah put all the video editing together and the sound editing together. I helped write the story. And then Evan is the voiceover on the character, the old man that's telling the fishing stories there. And then Noah is the voiceover of the guy buying beer. So we all work together. It's a fun collaborative effort, and it's all done in-house. And honestly, it was a kind of a learning on the job project.
Wow.
we didn't know how to animate before we did this. So
Holy cow.
I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And guys, if you haven't seen it yet, you got to go over to monstersofIPA.com. Watch these videos of Batsquatch, of Colossal Claude. Like, it's amazing. It's funny. And I should point out something that, that I think it needs to be said. It's not just like really cool animation, but it's funny. The stories obviously are fantastic. These are legendary monsters we're talking about here. So it's got everything. It was like it ended and I was like, nah, like where's the next episode? I want a season. Let's keep going. Let's make Batsquatch work at the post office. Let's have Colossal Claude, be the harbor master. Like, where does this go? Is like, what's next? But I just enjoyed the heck out of it. So if you haven't gone over to monstersofIPA.com yet, do it. You won't be disappointed. It was, again, I just didn't want it to end. I felt like a kid on Saturday morning reaching for Lucky Charms, but instead I fell in Colossal Claude and Batsquatch, and that's good. That's what I should be finding. Right now, no more Lucky Charms for me. Keep the marshmallows away. So this, again, watch this awesome video, guys, if you haven't. But when you watch this, I mean, for me, and really even before the video, thinking about the idea of the Monsters of IPA and this kind of battle that could happen, I'm sure as you guys were, making these videos and talking about the beers and the monsters, there was discussion of who would win in a fight. It's a dark night down by the beach and two shady figures emerge, one from land, one from sea. It's Batsquatch versus Colossal Claude. What happens, Hagen? Like what goes down? Who do you got on the betting pool? What's the over? What's the under?
Well, we're gonna have to talk to Vegas to see what the odds are.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, when we started the project, we wanted to start with the origin stories of kind of where these myths or legends were originated. So that's the starting point. We hope to someday get into some more maybe battle scenes or having the creatures do some other fun stuff too. But it is a lot of work to do these animations. So this will come out over time, But we do aim to have a lot of fun with it. I guess if I had to pick one, which one's going to win, the Batsquatch or the Colossal Claude? I don't know, man. I think it'd be a tough battle, but. I got to give the edge to Claude. I mean, he's like 40. He's like 40 feet long.
Right.
He can go under the water. Batsquatch, kind of has to fly above and try and come down like a raptor and grab him. But I think he's too big to pull out of the water, and I think he would just get him with his head and his neck and those big old teeth. And I mean, I think once Claude got a bite of Batsquatch, if he was able to pull him out of the water, it's done. So
I think you're right.
My money's on Claude.
Yeah, I think that's John. Do you have any early thoughts?
Six-pack of Batsquatch, undefeatable. You just need them all clipped together.
That's right. Well, I mean, I tell you what. I think this is a funny, brain teaser we had at the office of which I'm sure it's not just at the office. It's a common one of who would win the gorilla or the grizzly bear battle. That old chestnut. And my first question was always where is the battle? And I think you make a great point. If it's water, it's over. It's Colossal Claude all day. But maybe if he's coming into his cave or getting out of the water for some reason and Batsquatch catches him at that right moment, maybe he has the edge. But you're right. Yeah. I mean, if it's over the water, it's one and done. There's no way Batsquatch walks away, I don't think. But that would be what an unreal thing to stumble upon early in the morning, grabbing your fishing spot, and you just what is that? Is that a pack of dogs? What am I hearing? Is that mechanical? What am I looking at over there? And then anyway. I'm sure there are plenty of tall tales, as you mentioned, that start very similar to that have at least Claude in them.
We could only be so lucky to witness that scene.
I mean, right? What a year! Well, I mean, you're right. Anything can happen now. Hot dog. So
Steven Spielberg's calling.
That's right. He probably already owns the rights to it. He's a smart guy. So all right. So thinking, kind of. I know you guys have some other amazing beers like Combat Wombat, which is kind of a monster. But is there anything else like in the works at Rogue right now, or kind of what's coming up next for you guys? What's in the kind of the pipeline? Yeah,
I will tease a third monster is in the works.
Whoa!
And that will be coming out next year, so early next year. Look for that, probably January release on that. But there is a third monster, and it will be an IPA. So we're going to IPA theme.
The battle continues. Awesome. Holy cow! Hot take. This is amazing. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Great. But also kind of coming up into the summer season, we're getting into that. So some of the lighter beers are we're focusing on our next campaign is kind of road days for summer, the road days of summer, and it's kind of focusing on light beers for long days, like out here in the Northwest. Sometimes the summer, the sun doesn't set until like 9:30, 9:45 at night.
Yeah.
So you get these really long days, and it makes for a lot of activities, and you're doing stuff, and so you don't want stuff that's going to slow you down, and you want to be able to, drink all day on your day off or whatever. And so Dreamland right there is an American lager, and I know you guys are. This is the lager for you guys. So,
yes.
wanted to show you that. It's a perfect beer for those long summer days. So that'll be a big part of that. And the other one is called Newport Days, which they're both like nice lighter ABV beers and very sessionable.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, yeah, you heard it here first, Drinking Socially fans. Grab that lager. It's coming. You're the lager. Don't be left behind. But that sounds amazing. Obviously, John and I are sold on it. It's not hard to sell an amazing new lager to us. But this has been a blast, Hagen. Man, thanks for hanging out with us, giving us the inside scoop of the Monsters of IPA. I mean, I now can't wait for January, which is a weird thing I never say because who wants to be excited about January? But now I can't.
1st, Harrison's going to be emailing you about the new monster. Just a quick heads up.
Right, and we'll have to have you back, and we can now it's a tag team battle. There's all kinds of possibilities now. The stakes keep getting higher and higher. But I, for one, I'm excited. Also excited it's an IPA. But this was a blast. And again, guys, the website is monstersofipa.com. Go check it out. These videos, they're a hoot. And obviously grab these beers. John and I are loving them. We're enjoying the heck out of them. And again, thanks, Hagen. This has been really cool.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure, and I'm happy to come back anytime.
All right, guys. How about that? Isn't Hagen awesome? That was so cool to hear about that. Hear how they basically learned how to animate on the fly.
Right.
And made
what are you doing
such a
today?
Cool cartoon. Right, exactly. I'm creating cartoons. Don't you draw labels for breweries? Nope, not today. Today I'm bringing monsters to life. See you later. That's someone's
Cheers
dream, and those guys are living it. Right. Whew, I love it. This is killer. All right, cool. So, like we mentioned earlier, Colossal Claude, it's helping us in many ways. Feeling great right now, but also knocking up maybe another level of the hopped up badge. So before we talk about how high I might be in it, and how not high I am compared to John, probably, let's just learn about the badge a little more. What is this thing? I know it's pretty straightforward, but kind of surprising some of the beers that unlock this thing, maybe, for some people.
Yeah, untapped craft beer, the supermarket shelf, the world is flooded with IPAs right now. For good or for bad, IPA is a good beer. Indisputable. Is there maybe too much of them? Some people would say that. The older I get, the more I tend to complain about things. But what I like about, there's a hopped down badge on Untapped as well. We're featuring the hopped up. And what I like about this is if there's a way to kind of measure what type of IPA drinker you are, it's around that threshold on Untapped. To earn and level up, it has to be you're drinking a beer over 65 IBUs. And when we talk about, let's talk about the beers that have most commonly unlocked this badge.
Yeah.
So at the top of the list, if you remember back in the day when this beer was incredible, Ballast Point, Grapefruit Sculpin. Maybe some haven't had that beer in a while, but I remember wondering how I was going to take out a second mortgage to afford another 6-pack of it. But at the same point, it was delicious. It was like life-changing, great beer, bitter. Grapefruit was a perfect. And then you see other beers on this badge like Stone IPA. Just legit, straight up Stone IPA. You'll find their delicious IPA, which I think is amazing. It's almost gluten-free. It's got these beautiful song to hops in that beer. The Arrogant Consortia, Arrogant Bastard Ale is on here.
Yes.
High Dale's Pale Ale.
Classic.
Dogfish 90 Minutes. So the beers that were really popular and exciting 5, 6, 7 years ago, the beers that had bitterness in them. These are the beers that most commonly are unlocking this badge. So it's, in a way, if I can sell this to you, the hopped up badge is like a badge of honor in Untapped, or at least like a badge of seniority or tenure that says I've been drinking IPAs for a while. Because if you go out, Julius, almost anything from Trillium, great beers, but I would imagine it's rare that you're going to find them with a lot of bitterness. So one of the coolest beers that's on this badge isn't an IPA. And Harrison sometimes talks about this when we drink a stout. Old Rasputin from North Coast. We've had that on the show before. It's above 65 IBU. It's a stout, but we've had a couple like that where the stouts are bitter as well. And that's not something most people think of. The higher the IBUs, the more grown up, the more mature the drinker. I think of them as like a warm red Cabernet in the beer world. What about you, Harrison?
Right. It's big. It's bold. I'm right there with you. Yeah, I love that Old Rasputin lands on this list as well. It's got 9% ABV, 75 IBUs. We did it on the podcast last season. I believe it was last season. But yeah, like a time ago in the past. For the future, time is a flat circle. We're going way back. Anyway, one person will laugh at that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, yes. I mean, a lot of those big stouts. To kind of more booze has got, you achieve that by adding more malt, and you don't want something that's too malt forward and cloying and kind of gross and syrupy. So balance it out with some hops, and a lot of Imperial stouts are just loaded with hops too, but they're such big beers and they're still malt forward that you may not even notice it. This has the same, North Coast Old Rasputin has the same IBUs as Colossal Claude. And I wouldn't have guessed that, and I had very familiar with both of them. So of course the malt bill plays a huge role in how you are experiencing that bitterness. So again, that kind of plays to our larger point of IBUs may not really be measuring what you think they're measuring. And we will eventually do an episode on IBUs.
The longest running promise on any podcast ever.
We will. We'll surprise you with no warning. It's going to show up and you're going to be bored. It's not as exciting as any of you are probably thinking. But again, to John's point, it's not just IPAs on here. This is a simple badge. If it's above 65 IBUs, it goes to it. So I have a lot of stouts on mine. I had like a big 10.5% stout from Heist Brewing out of Charlotte that had like 85 IBUs that helped me get to where I'm at now. But let's get to that. So
now. I'll go first because I feel like this lends itself more to my category. Maybe not. I don't like I said, these are old guy IPAs. So we'll see where you land, Harrison. I leveled up this badge by drinking a beer from 18th Street Brewery in Hammond, Indiana. Big shout out to Brian. Thanks for the share. The beer was amazing. It was called Villain. It was like citrus fruit IPA. It was delicious. And with that check-in, I hit level 53, Harrison.
Hot dog.
Balls in your
All right. And once again, right. And once again, I'm going to come up short. So I am at level 41. So I'm relatively close to you. I'm like 50 beers away, or not. Well, a little more than that. Or something. Maybe if math is working in my head, is that right? 25 beers, something like that.
It
doesn't matter.
Close. 41 and 53 though. Like no one cares about them. It's either 100, none, or you're stuck in the middle. So we're close.
You're right.
Man.
So we're working our way to 100. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself because I fancy myself a West Coast IPA head, but maybe not. Maybe the data tells me something differently. In any respect, I recently leveled up this just last weekend with a Moonshine Ipa. So Moonshine's a brewery in North Carolina. Their kind of flagship IPA, I think clocks in around like 70 IBUs or so. And hadn't had it in a bit. Recently came back to town, grabbed one, enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm at level 41, but now seeing that, I mean, I got some work to do, but maybe I'll secretly do it and we'll check in towards the end of the season and perhaps we can battle out this badge again and maybe have some success with it, unlike the
if we could get an assistant and a second pair of glasses, I would love to recap where we were when we recorded each episode and make that like a Christmas send-off. We won't do that because time will take over, but maybe that'd be a cool idea. One thing that might be holding you back, Harrison, is I think no matter how many times you check into Sierra Nevada's torpedo,
that's the problem.
So it might just be a matter of you're really brand loyal.
I am. I drink a lot of torpedo, and I didn't want to give myself an excuse, so I'm glad you did for me, John. You're right. All those torpedoes and Two Hearteds and High Lies are not helping me because I just only helped me once. But that's okay. Anyway, let us know what level you guys are at in the comments. What beer recently unlocked it for you? Go through that list. This is one of those badges where you can look through it and see all the beers you've had that's helped you level it up. There were some cool ones in there. It was great. I mean, again, as John and I kind of do this in real time, we're learning a lot about, ourselves. I'm having a lot of memories come up. I went through this list earlier and again saw that Heist beer that I forgot I had, and the check-in and the picture was great. It was a great night. Brought a lot of memories back of enjoying that. There were a lot of beers on this list. The first one that I had that went to unlocking level 1 of this badge was the 2014 version of Stone's 420 Enjoy by 420 beer. 420 2014. That was the first one I had that kind of sent me down the hopped up badge path, and that was a great beer. And it's funny, I was looking at it in my phone, and as I was looking at it, I got an alert from a local verified venue. They had just tapped Stone's 420 2021. So some weird serendipitous universal kind of time is a flat circle. But it did.
Harrison
can't make
wishes
it up.
every day was Inception.
Every day is
sometimes
Inception.
he makes it come true.
If I try to nap enough each day to make it happen.
Here's a cool call to action to use a buzzword, a question for everyone listening that I just made up.
Yep.
Which is higher, you're hopped up or you're hopped down? If you're watching on YouTube, you can realize that I don't know how to put a phone on YouTube, but my hopped up, I'm level 53. My hopped down, I'm level 48. It's a close race.
Neck and neck for you.
Turns out I'm an IBU guy just by a hair.
I love that. Let me grab mine real quick. So, hopped up 41, hopped down 27.
Turns out Harrison really does like lagers.
I just keep drinking, but at the same ones. It helps nobody. It doesn't help anyone at all. I'm sure there's just 100 check-ins of Sam Adams Oktoberfest in here, or Yingling, or I'm looking at my list right now, see if I can find any culprits that I repeatedly imbibe on the lower side of the IBUs here. Narragansett Lager, help me. That beer I drink a lot in the summer. We'll probably talk about it, maybe even drink it this year when Jaws season comes back into play. Let's talk. Oh, man. There are a ton of pumpkin beers on this. That's pretty funny. That's probably why I'm guilty. I just drink the same pumpkin beers each year. Anyway, again, not making excuses. John's just better at checking in beers than me. A lot of memories in here. Again, I wonder if this is fun. But we'll do hop down. I mean, we have to eventually. We have to. But I'll be sad that show when I learn that. I've already lost.
Time, man.
Got time. Right. Give me all the milds and the lagers. It's the year of the lager. Maybe that'll make the difference.
That's the show I'm scared about is the All-American show where we have to drink Coors and Miller and Bud Light, and I am scared for that one.
I'll bring the hot dogs. You bring the buns, and we'll make it happen. No sleeves.
You just dunk them in the beer? Does that count as drinking the beer?
That's what you do when you're trying to eat a lot of hot dogs. Got to break that bun down, dump it in the drink, and then you shoot it down the gullet. That's the Joey Chestnut move right there, and that's a man who knows how to eat.
What about good beer? Do you have any good beer stories to recap on this
Good
show?
beer. Good. I have a best beer. How about that? A best beer of the week. So I enjoyed something that I'm sure helped me move along. Actually, I know it did. This same badge, opt-up badge. I finally got my hands on Axeman from Surly Brewing Company out of Minnesota, Minneapolis. So that was, we've been seeing a little bit more of their stuff coming out here to North Carolina, I don't know, the past year or so, for a lot of reasons. But Axeman hadn't made it yet, or at least I hadn't been lucky to grab it if and when it did. And so Pay Beer, a local bottle shop, I saw they grabbed some and shot right over and was like, just give me a 4-pack. I got to know what this is all about. Because it's I would call it legendary. I mean, it's a beer that I've heard of forever, that people like, it's great. And it was exactly what I wanted it to. It was like a dank, kind of classic, I guess we'll say old school, definitely West Coast IPA. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. I was not let down at all. That's pretty exciting when that happens. And it's a beer I've thought about for years, and finally got my hands on it. I was like, this is great. I wish I'll get more. So kudos to everyone at Surly cranking it out and getting Axeman this way, because I really enjoyed it, and I will be looking for it again and grabbing what I can while I can, because they're kind of every once in a while Surly shows up. You never know when, so you got to kind of scoop it up when you see it. But Axeman delivered, and I enjoyed it. What about you, John? What did you come across this past week for your best beer of the week?
A quick tangent. My first Surly beer was handed off to me in a bar in North Carolina. We were both talking about, we were just like nerding out about the beer list. And the stranger next to me was like, have you ever had Surly? And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to ask me about like Dark Lord or some amazing beer that I've never had from the Midwest before.
Yep.
And he ended up handing me an Axeman can, if I remember correctly, warm from a cargo. That's what cargo pockets are for. Pulled it out of his cargo pocket, handed it to me, my first Surly beer, and it was amazing.
Wow.
Anyways, nostalgic, great story.
Yes.
My beer of the week is from the Lost Abbey, who is someone that we should also feature on the show.
Yeah.
An amazingly talented brewery. And the beer that I remember most fondly is called Libra Divini. Libra Divini. It's like a Harry Potter spell. What it is 7% wild ale. It's listed as a farmhouse ale on Untapped. And the taste is lemon graham crackers. Just mind-blowing.
Nice.
Like
yes.
a sour ale in the true form, which I love the fruited Berliners, but this was like a wild sour, and it was phenomenal. Best beer I've had of the week, maybe even of the month.
Ooh, fantastic. Sold. Yeah, we should definitely get Lost Abbey on, get Port Brewing on, talk about that whole thing. But I'm sold on that.
Both the same? Either way, yeah.
No one knows. Right. Show me your tax returns. Who do you work for? Exactly. We'll get to the bottom of it. Maybe we won't.
But recapping this show, we had an amazing guest. The first guest on season 4, I think, comes from Rogue Ales and Spirits, if you're lucky enough to live around them. So thanks so much, Hagen, for joining us and kind of describing some of the lore behind these monsters of IPA.
Yes.
We had beer on the show. Thank you, Claude, for making an appearance. You're beautiful, you're deadly, but Batsquatch would win in a fight. And thank you for listening. If you've had a good time and you're drinking your second beer and thinking about a cheeseburger and a kick-ass IPA, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, send a comment, let Harrison know that his t-shirt game is tip-top. Otherwise...
next week we are traveling again. Well, not really. We're not, never leave this room. You don't leave that room. We just send carrier pigeons out the window with beer and asking for help and food when we need it. But kind of virtually traveling or beer traveling, whatever. Just as the weather down here is starting a little bit warmer, we're going north to the Great White North, actually. So check back next week. We've got some really cool beers from Canada. Craft breweries up there. We got our mitts on. We got a lot to talk about those beers specifically. You may already know, if you've been following Untapped social media, there was a little bit of a back and forth a couple months ago about lagers and Untapped and Canada and whatever. We've gotten to the bottom of it. We're going to drink to the bottom of it, at least the bottom of the can, next week, and work to unlock that badge. I don't think I've really done any work on. So we'll have to tune back again next week and find out. But
until then, thanks for helping us hunt monsters and drink beers. Cheers.
Cheers!